Good evening, everybody. Happy Easter. Not really sure which day you're supposed to say Happy Easter. Is it supposed to be Good Friday or Easter Sunday? Well, I mean, of course, we've got Easter Saturday and Easter Monday, but Good Friday and Easter Sunday are the main two that we think of. Yes, I managed to get a fire going with some wet wood, but a bit of creativity to get there eventually. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful night here. It's been a lovely day. I've been busy with the tractor trying to clear some of the scrub that's around the sheep paddock, because we may have a wild dog problem. We may have a wild dog problem in the area. I knew that maybe 4 or 5 kilometres away, one of the neighbours' sisters' dogs got attacked when they let them out of the yard. That was a small way away. But my neighbour here now, he showed me a video he took during one of those full moons recently, and he's got a lovely great big outdoor entertainment area, so he just sits out there at night. And he took a video, and you could hear some howls in the distance, very distinctive howls. And he would be able to hear a lot further than I could, not because of any personal issue or anything, but the fact that his land where his house is built, it slopes down to his massive great big lake and then slopes up into the land behind, whereas I'm sort of an area that feeds into his, so I've got about 4 valleys and hills between myself and the end of the property, which are all little valleys feeding into his lake. So any howls from way over there I would be unlikely to hear, because all the intervening trees and stuff, but it would just flow across his lake and up to his property, up to his house. Anyway, yeah, so fun times. So I've been a bit worried, because obviously with the sheep and the dogs and the cattle and the geese and everything else, so just trying to put a bit of a gap, or more to the point, get rid of any hiding places next to the fence line in the sheep paddock. The other paddock's already clear, it's just on the edge of the sheep paddock here, and that's sheep paddock. It might as well be more in the back scrub, because it's just a wild mess. In fact, I can show you. If we scroll over here, there's the sheep paddock. It's just scrub on the other side of it. You can't quite see it, but there is a fence line there which has got some of the grassed off area in it for the sheepies, and the paddock goes up a fair way as well, but still you get the general idea. So that's my plans for this weekend. I've done a lot of mowing, which is lovely. I mean, there's Simba, but he's lying on the lovely mown grass here. Anything on the other side of the electric fence, the cattle and the sheep seem to take care of it, keep it at a reasonable height, so I'm happy with that. But on this side of the fence, the sheepies just can't keep up with it all, so especially when we've had all that rain and the rat's tail and everything else has just gone up like you wouldn't believe. I actually took the mower this weekend through the sheep paddock, and I was considering doing it in the cattle paddock as well, because they just can't keep up with the rate that the grass is growing. And because it's an invasive pest, the giant rat's tail, when it gets that big, everything else that's on the ground dies out underneath it, because it doesn't get any light. But I ended up taking it through the sheep paddock and got that down and under control, and probably leave the cattle paddock for another weekend. Had a bit of trouble with the cub, with the zero turn that I did the sheep paddock in, and all this area here. I had a failure to proceed moment. I went to move along, and all of a sudden there was no throttle response. What the hell? push down the throttle and the engine wouldn't rev and nothing happened. It's like, well, that's a problem. That was over, unfortunately for the dogs, it was over near the beehive. Probably about 3 meters away from the beehive. But whenever Loki or Wraith come over, they've obviously pissed off those bees at some stage. Probably trying to find out what the hell they are. And if they came over, if one bee got near their face, these boys just sprinted away. It's like, well, you poor little boys. I'm sitting there underneath the mower with no bees near me, because we're not like I said, we're about 4 meters away from the hive, but poor puppy dogs. Other Justice could come up and lick my face, paid no attention to her. It was just poor Loki and Wraith that they got done. They didn't get stung or anything, but just flying around their face, they freaked out and they ran off. What that turned out to be with that little cub was I'd obviously gone over a bumpy bit and found a stick, and it had pushed the drive belt off one of the pulleys. It took me a few hours because I had a crack at it, and then I went back inside because I was getting frustrated and it was getting lunchtime-ish, and so I had lunch and did some other bits and pieces, and contacted the mower repair bloke saying he's going to have to come out again, and oh shit, and he said it's probably the drive belt. I said, well, the drive belt looked fine, but I'll have another look. And then I had to lay down, and a couple of hours later I went and had another look, and yeah, that's when I found that the drive belt looked fine, but it was actually off one of the pulleys, because it had been caught between when it had come off, it caught between the pulley and there's a bolt for the deck, and all I had to do was undo that bolt. The pulley just went slip straight back into spot and put the bolt in. It's like, what the hell? That's a world's stupidest spot for a bolt. But yeah. Anyway, got her up and going again, but not before I got the little old John Deere out, the 1989 model John Deere, and finished off around the house and around the yard, which was good to give it a go again. And all these mechanical things need to be run. So it's had a good little run. The Cubs had a good little run because the tractors had a good little run. And then there's the Defender. It's had a great little run. I'm driving it in the town regularly now. Well, I was until today. Because now that I have stripped it back to pretty much removed all the dual battery stuff out of there, and now I've got an isolator between all the accessories and the main cranking system. She's still playing tricks, and I just don't know if it's the alternator or what the hell it is. When she's cold, if I try and start her, the alternator it doesn't give any charge. Oh, I mean, she starts, but she doesn't start charging the battery. And it almost looks like the alternator doesn't even know the battery's there. I've got a battery monitor on it that feeds to my phone, so I can see what's happening, and the alternator's sitting at 12 point something volts, and the battery's just going, well, that's fine, I'm above that, I'm not going to charge. And you think, well, that sounds pretty normal, except at this stage my tachometer, which runs off a pulse that's on the directly connected to the back of the alternator, it's dead. It's not working. And it's only until I get up to speed around 2,500 RPM, like when I'm accelerating up to 60 and I get to speed and stay there for a little bit, that all of a sudden my tacho starts working consistently. Until that point it sort of bounces, working, not working, working, not working, when it gets warm enough, I guess. Because today I had to drive halfway into friggin' town, or it was only maybe 1/5 of the way into town before the friggin' tacho started working properly. I was starting to stress because I could see on the battery monitor the charge in the battery getting lower and lower. It's like, friggin' hell, come on. But then she did kick in, and once she kicked in, a few little peaks of yes, tacho's working, not, yes, tacho's working, it's not working, working, not working, and eventually just settle on working, and if you look over, the battery monitor says that the battery is now charging, and everything worked fine, which I guess very concerning. It means it's going to die eventually, and then I'm going to be screwed completely again. So that's one issue. And I say one issue because then I drove home today. Well, actually, when I was at the shops, I did it for a second. I went, oh shit, I've got a starter button in there for whatever reason. So I turn the keys to ignition to start, and then you got to press a button. I press the button and it just goes click. Nothing happens. Luckily, when I was at the shops on the third press, she woke up and car started fine. Great, drove home, off I went. Got home, just inside the gate. Shut the gate, turned the car off because I wanted to do some stuff in the boar shed. Got back into starter, click. Oh shit. Press the button, click. Now the button is just a direct jumper to the stuff on the back of the ignition switch. It should just work. And like, I know pressing the button was doing something because I could hear, and in fact I could see just under the dash one of the relays would flash. So the button was doing something, but the starter wasn't kitting over. And I went out there and I tapped a few things around with a piece of metal, because that's what you need to get into the where the starter motor is, in case it was something with the starter, which would make sense because that's the only thing there. And no. So I went, fuck it. Pardon language. And went up, did some other stuff, came back about half an hour later, started first go. And between the last time I tried pressing the button and this time I tried pressing the button was, like I said, half an hour, give or take. I had done nothing. So that's a bad contact somewhere. Trying to figure out where that bad contact is. The amount of people I've asked me when I'm going to throw the match on the Defender, I'm not interested. She has lasted me for 30 years without anything like this. She is 30 years old. I'll figure this out, get it sorted, and then we'll move on from there. But it is frustrating. Anyways. This fire is courtesy of a stick I found, which I then spent the afternoon, spent 10 minutes, dragged it up here and cut it all up. Then used half a bag of firelighters to get the bus thing going, but it did work. And now I can't find my my little hairdryer thingy that I used to give it some air, but I don't need it anyway. As you can see, she's going quite well. Anyways, it's been, as I said, an exciting week for those in the know, they know. Those that don't. I'm glad to have my little boy RJ here. He appreciated the shorter grass, though I haven't taken him out on the wheels with the shorter grass yet, but he certainly enjoyed. Much easier to walk through. So, a beautiful little man. He always was. Anyways, happy Easter, or whatever it is you feel like celebrating. Remember, the universe doesn't care. Life is short. Live as you'd like to be treated yourself.